Oh man, I hate Mondays.
Nah, man, it's Tuesday.
Wait. What day is it?
You know what day it is? Tuesday. Brewsday Tuesday.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's time for Brewsday Tuesday. Here's DreZ and Big Nate.
There we go. It is a Brewsday Tuesday, or a BoozeDay Tuesday, if you will.
One of my favorite smells in the world right
Oh,
there.
this is a good smell. It's going to be a good Tuesday. I can tell you that right now. So because football season has officially started, and one of the things that I do enjoy, especially it worked out well as not well. I prefer the first game of the tech season to be a home game and you're out there tailgating and everything. But since when I'm watching it at home, I can just have a nice bottle
This is true.
of whiskey or bourbon sitting next to me, and you can just sip and watch and cheer on the Hokies. So, in essence of that, I decided we should do a. I guess it's not technically a full bourbon show because I just realized that I messed up and I grabbed because I was honestly
Close enough.
this could be a two-parter. I was thinking we would do two shows perhaps, and so I saved some of the bourbon for another show because I thought they would kind of pair better, and then I realized the one that I handed you isn't actually bourbon. I think it's a rye blend or something.
It is a rye blend.
All right, well, let's start with yours. What do you got?
So I got the George Dickel Column Still collaboration blend with the Leopold Brothers 3-chamber still. Little collab action between Nicole Austin at Cascade Hollow Distilling and Todd Leopold over at the Leopold Brothers. So 50% ABV. And in case you're wondering, calories are 120 per serving.
It's got that on there?
Yeah, I've never noticed. I've never seen that I've noticed on a whiskey container before.
No, well,
I've never even considered it, and
not at all.
frankly, going forward, probably still not going to.
How many calories?
120 calories per serving.
Wow. See, you think that when you're drinking just straight
Hey,
alcohol,
no carbs,
all right, well, no carbs. There's the advantage.
no
But
fat, no protein.
when you think when you're drinking straight alcohol, it's healthier, but I guess that's what it is. You're still getting some calories, of course, but and that's more calories than I would have thought. And a serving is, I'm assuming it's just like a standard shot pour, like one and a
One
quarter,
and a
one
half.
ounce, 1.5.
Yep, 44 mil.
So is all right. That bars the question. What exactly is a shot by definition? Is it one? Is it 1.25? Is it 1.5?
I always thought it was 1.25.
So why? So a serving is 1.5. So it's like a heavy pour.
I don't. I mean, yeah. I have no idea. I can't remember the last time I just did shots anyway. So
Oh yeah, I never really do shots.
I never
you see.
measure.
So I have over here the Henry McKenna single barrel. That's the 10 years. It is Kentucky straight, bottled in bond bourbon whiskey. This is barrel number 13235, barreled on 5/22/2012. So I guess that, it was probably, well, yeah, it was bottled on 5/22/12. So I can't remember when I opened this, but I think both of these, and most certainly the other two on the next round, because it's only getting better from here, is definitely stuff that you would get. Well, and honestly, when I was first talking about doing this show, I wanted to talk about the Virginia ABC and their drops, but they've done away with it, which is probably for the best.
I never won. Damn it.
Well, no, the lottery is still a thing.
Oh,
I'm talking about
Oh, okay, I got you.
drops.
Yeah. I
So
was too confused.
did you ever? I mean, I know I've signed you up for when I've got when that there's a good lottery or whatever. I've had you fill it out too. I'm like, hey, and if you don't want to
It's
buy the
just-
bottle, I'll buy it. But
Never won.
so you never did the drop thing.
I'm always
either?
a runner-up. No, because for me, it's a huge time investment.
Well, not really. All right. So for those that don't know, for I don't know, year and change or so, maybe longer, for whatever reason, and honestly, maybe it was because it was, I don't know, the ABC stores. Virginia's got a lot of weird laws and whatever, but I think it was maybe more of a marketing thing
I think so.
because it worked. Because basically what would happen is whenever certain ABC stores would have a limited quote unquote, variety or limited release or drop, if you will, if they call it, of rare bourbons. And by rare, I mean Eagle Rare and Buffalo Trace, stuff
Yeah.
that should just be sitting on the damn shelf.
Exactly.
But because for whatever reason, they just sort of created this demand, it made it so that people would buy it up. People were trying to buy it, even if you didn't even need it. A case in point, so basically they would randomly do set in times. You wouldn't even know when it's going to happen, but you could sign up for the notifications via their Instagram, via email, whatever. And they would send out, say, hey, there's a drop right now at these locations. So you'd click on it, you look to see if there's an ABC store near you, and it's first come, first serve, 1 bottle per person. So I definitely did it every now and then because for those that don't know, radio station's about a mile away.
We are
a mile and
conveniently
change
located.
from the ABC store in
For both
Radford.
you and I, it's right on our way home.
So there's been a time or two when I've gotten that notification and I'm like, hey, I got a solid, 15 minutes before I got to get on the air again. Or, maybe it's before or after my shift and I just hop in the car and head on down there, see what they got. And even if it's something that I've already had a bottle of, or, it's not even that great, like an Eagle Rare or something, you still get it just because you feel like you had to. And because, maybe somebody is looking for this bottle or whatever.
Well, there's that, and they've already created the demand for you. I don't
Mhm.
know the legalities of liquor reselling. I'm pretty sure it's illegal, but
Oh, people do it left and right.
there are things that people do otherwise anyway.
So either way, I acquired a few different bottles through the drops, but now I think that they've actually, I think very recently, just in the last, few weeks, month or so, they said, we're going to stop doing the drops. And now you'll just actually get to see good every now and then. Maybe you hop in a store, you see, and maybe they'll have some good bourbon. I think that's the way it should be. So I'm sipping on the Henry McKenna, the 10-year, honestly, out of the stuff that I brought. So, and again, what sparked this was, I was doing all these drops and stuff. And since I was going to Scotland, I wanted to bring some good bourbon to do a little Scotch tasting and whatnot. Scotch versus bourbon sort of tasting with BB's dad and his buddies. And out of all of them, I want to say that this Henry McKenna 10 years is probably one of my least favorites. I was surprised by the Dickel. But what I was getting at was I'm going to drop a couple of, we got some nice fresh water here and I got a little dropper. So I'm going to throw a little bit of water in mine.
I
really can open it up.
I don't know if this is just the way I'm tasting things today or what, but yeah, this Dickel Leopold Brothers collab is definitely surprising.
So one of the things, I think we've been over this before. I feel like we've drank some whiskey and stuff. You want to smell it. You do the chew, you put it in your mouth, you kind of like let it sit on in your tongue and your mouth a little bit before you sip it back and you get that, what do they call it? The Kentucky hug or whatever it is, where you feel like in the back of your throat or whatever.
Hug.
One of the things that somebody was telling me when I was on, I think I talked about this when we did a Scotch, about you close one of your nostrils to smell it. You remember that we do that?
I feel like but I feel like one of my nostrils only one of them really fully works anyway. So I don't know how much effect that would have for me. It seems like consistently all throughout my life, and it changes nostrils, but it feels like I can never consistently fully take things in both at the same time.
Oh, I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned, but just like yours, this is 50% alcohol, so 100 proof. So both of these are 100 proof. Right on the money.
Now, did these make the trip to Scotland and back?
Not back.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't able
that's
to
right. You weren't
bring
gonna
all these bottles. That was the thing.
These
that
are
made
ones
it
you
so
took over
tricky.
there, but also had.
Yeah, I had to take them, and what I did was I ordered a bunch of little vials, and initially, my plan was because it's supposedly going to be changing the whole TSA thing. They're going to
10 years.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time rolling out those X-rays or whatever. But in the meantime, you're still limited to only 3%, or 3 ounces, 100 milliliters or whatever. So I ordered 3-ounce containers. Now, these were not 3-ounce containers that came. They were like little vials, and I ended up measuring them. I think they were maybe 1 ounce or 1.5 ounce, which actually worked out better because I was able to fit more of them in a bag. And then it gave me the idea. I was like, oh, well, if I just fill up a bunch of these, then I could just have a whole bunch. So I wish I had thought of it. I would have brought one to show you, but they were just basically like little vials. And it was essentially, and I don't even think it was 1.5 ounces. Now that I think about it, it might have just been, it was less than that. It was actually a lot less than that. I think it was maybe a 1/2 ounce. So it was perfect because it was the right amount that, because if we're going to be trying 7, I brought 7 different bourbons / whiskeys, and that was just me. Everybody else is going to bring, probably 2 or 3 to the table. So if you're going to be drinking and trying that much stuff, you can't have a whole shot and a half of each because eventually you're just not even going to.
Someone's going to
taste
die.
it. Yeah. So it was the right amount, but I think I mentioned this on the whiskey show, the Scotch show, the stuff that I brought back. It didn't even end up happening. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
It didn't happen. So, I ended up leaving. We busted open a few of them, just me and good old Hank, but most of them I ended up just leaving there and saying, hey, once you get around your buddies, let them try this stuff.
Now, it was, someone was ill, correct?
BB got COVID.
Yeah, wouldn't, she just handed her some bourbon and scotch. She had been fine. I'm pretty sure that kills it.
Oh, yeah. I understood them not wanting to take the risk. And the main reason was because, and honestly, they might have done it, but one of them, I think, was like, he's recovering from cancer.
Yeah.
So didn't want to risk that. And then the other one, his daughter was getting married the following week. So both have them pretty valid reasons to be cautious and not risk getting COVID to just try some bourbon. So I think it was disappointing because I really was looking forward to it and obviously put a lot of thought and effort into bringing all these bourbons over there for
Can you imagine you show up for a super spreader event? We already have a reputation for giving the indigenous people blankets laced with smallpox, and now you brought COVID to Scotland back.
Well, no, that's not how it worked because BB went over there and got COVID. So,
oh, okay.
Really, it was their own disease.
That's not the way the news would tell it.
That's true. That is true. But so, do you ever drink bourbon straight like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It really depends on what I'm doing, but you described that scenario where you're watching the football game with a bottle of bourbon. I don't get to do it as much as I used to, but I used to love like turning on a baseball game or a hockey game, getting particularly I like doing the Evan Williams white label, and I will just sit there with like, I do put ice in that because it's not the greatest bourbon, but it's delicious. And I will sit there and like just the small bottle and just go through it the whole. Oh yeah, I love.
I wasn't familiar with the white label until you told me about it, and then when I went to Kentucky, I finally came across some and bought a couple bottles, not realizing it's not as rare as I guess you think, but
it's just hard to come by here.
Yeah, so I actually ran out of that last weekend. We went camping, and I was using the white label to make Kentucky mules. And I was making a lot of mules for people and ended up running out. So I no longer have any white label. I definitely tried it straight though. I wouldn't try really frankly, probably any alcohol without trying it straight first. Any alcohol of note that I haven't had before.
I do think I prefer it straight. The exception, like for the most part, I'll drink my bourbon straight. And then the exception is if I want something like a bourbon and Coke or a mixed drink, I'll just get Old Crow.
Yeah, I was
because I'm already gonna dilute it. It would be like, why waste good?
I would never mix any of the stuff that we're gonna drink today or in the next round if we do with anything other than water or frozen water, because that would just be a crime. And that's the thing. I have all this because I was just telling BB, I'm like, oh, we're out of the Evan Williams, so we have a little bit of Jim Beam that I would make Kentucky mules with. She's like, what, you're not going to let me use your good bourbon? I'm like, hell no.
No, absolutely not.
It'd be a damn good mule, but that would be a total waste. I mean, when you think about the price point, you wouldn't know the difference, and it ain't worth pissing away all that good bourbon and ruin it with Coke and beer or whatever.
There is a note here on the side about the Leopold Brothers 3-chamber still.
Mm-hmm.
apparently, Todd Leopold, his specialty is reviving recipes of spirits from before the Prohibition. So to make this, he's using like pre-Prohibition recipe, inherited grains, like what they would have grown before Prohibition kind of changed the way the crop was farmed. So it's they described it as a unique floral and chocolate character.
Really?
The Dickel doesn't have as much flowery language surrounding it, but I mean, Dickel makes a good product. This is absolutely wild, though.
You like it?
Oh, this might be one of the. I mean, it's rye. I've not had a lot of rye, but it is delicious.
I think we've been over this before. I don't really seek out rye, and I think I realized on, was it who did we had somebody oh, it was Salty Stash.
Yes,
where we were trying his
And
different whiskeys.
the rye.
And I think it was like, maybe I just don't really care for rye, but that's one of the better ones I've come
This
across.
is wild.
And it's funny because it is a blend. And I know a lot of people will dog on a blend and you're like, oh, you only want single malt, obviously with in Scotland and stuff with the Scotch. But frankly, the blends, I tend to like them. Maybe it's because my palate's not super refined or something, but I like a good blend.
No, this is delicious.
All right, obviously it's not on Untapped. Maybe it's on a whiskey equivalent. I haven't done the research to see if
Uncorked.
Well, I feel like Uncorked would be a wine one.
That's true.
What do they do? Unbung.
I was just
unbung
trying to like think of like
Unbunged?
incorporate bung in there. I mean,
What sort of, if you did the same scale that we do with our Untapped scale, what do you think?
it's got a lot going on. This would be the perfect fall beverage. It feels almost like you know that sensation you get when you first like pop in a stick of Big Red. I'm sure like if they're listening up at Dickel or at the Leopold Brothers, or like he's comparing it to Big Red. It has that same like it's a very bold flavor immediately.
Similar to rye. I never seek out Big Red, but if I come across it, I'm always like, this is a real treat. This is pretty good.
It's phenomenal. It's got all that warmth. I think, particularly once it gets cooler out, this is the perfect like sit on your front porch, watch the leaves change color and drink it. 4.75.
Oh boy.
It's damn good.
Oh, wow. All right. You're coming out swinging. In case people don't, if you haven't been listening long, Nate rates high. Have you given anything less than a 3 ever?
Yes. I believe it was that Buzzballs show.
If we looked at your scoring record, I'm pretty
believe
sure
it was
it's
that Buzzballs show.
Now that being said, I'm not dogging on the Dickel. That is good. It is good. And everything that we're going to be drinking is good. The next round is, in theory, should be even better. And I definitely think it will be. That being said, man, when I said that I didn't like the 10-year Henry McKenna, I'm so glad I started with this because it tastes pretty good. This is better than I remember. And I think it was, did you add any drops of water to yours? I think that can make a really nice difference. Like you always try it neat first, of course, but you throw in a couple drops of some nice chilled water. And I like cooling stuff. I like using, and I even have some if we want to, but the ice spheres or whatever, Actually, I have some skull ones, so they're kind of cool.
Nice.
They're pretty metal. I brought them in case we wanted to, but we decided maybe we don't really like ice in it. But it depends on the whiskey. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It also depends on if I'm sitting outside in the heat, then maybe I might want one. Inside, don't need it. But I digress. This is delicious. It's got some good notes. It's not one of the ones that I would really, when the drop comes around, again, I guess it's not going to be coming around because that's what happens is they're like, here are the options. And I would probably, I've grabbed better bottles than the Henry McKenna 10-year, but it's not a bad option. There's no doubt about it. And honestly, that's the only one I'm familiar with. You said somebody really likes Henry McKenna?
Yeah, they've got like not
what other
bomb, but they've got like a regular McKenna bourbon. I think it's 1 year.
Is it black, like in label?
No, it's that green color you see.
So it's just like that. Just instead of 10, it says 1 year. Usually it's different colored labels. That's pretty
No.
standard. Really?
No, and it's bottom shelf.
So this is garbage. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's pretty decent. It's not the best. I'm gonna give it a 3.75. 4. I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. There's definitely room to go up from here, which is what we're planning to do after we play a song. We're gonna play a song. What's your favorite bourbon drinking song?
To drink bourbon too, or about drinking bourbon?
Either or.
I got as long as it is the George Thorogood.
That's where my mind
One
went.
bourbon, one scotch.
And it's funny because I'm obviously already done and we don't need to I mean, obviously we will, but yeah, we'll give ourselves plenty of time to come back and get nice and toasted on a Brewsday Tuesday. Stick around.